Well, hey, Harvest family. We wanted to record this video together to share with you some updates about some transitions that both Greg and Ed are going to be transitioning off staff. And listen, I know transitions are hard, so we thought the best way to do it was to just do it in a video so that you guys can see. Look, I love these men. I've been serving under Greg's leadership. He's been my campus pastor for I think 7 years now. He's been his worship leader, and then also serving with Ed on the teaching team together. So these are men that I love, and it's hard to announce the transition, but I want you to hear from them directly just some of what the Lord's been doing in their hearts and how we got to this announcement. So Ed, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, last year, February 2019, I began a process with some friends that are close, that know me well, thinking through what is next in this season of ministry. And it was obviously at a time where not much was going on here at the church. And it really came down to talking with my supervisor, Pastor Greg, and saying, I really feel that God's called me here for this season. And in August of this year, I was in my annual goal review, and it was clear that season was coming to an end. And with Thanksgiving and with a lot of gratitude, Eddie, I am in a space where while I'm excited, I'm also mourning, because this is an amazing church and there's been an amazing season that we've had together. But it's time. It's time to transition and see what God has for me and my family next. And so that's what brought me to this place.
Yeah, so we have Ed's transition, but also Greg is transitioning. So share with us a little bit about that, Greg.
Yeah, hi, Harvest family. In June of this year, I was struggling personally. I kind of hit a wall of exhaustion. I think it was just a result of a long season of good but hard ministry. And I went to the elders and asked if I could have some time off, and they gave me some time for a sabbatical, and I was really blessed by that. But God used that time to really clean me out on some things I had to deal with the Lord personally, that I think that I kind of had a sinful attitude in some things. He did that, but then he led me to a really good season of rest. And then I was really able to reflect with Chris on what does God have for us next. And I knew that, like Ed, God had called me to lead this church in a season of difficulty when he, 18 months ago or so, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Feels like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. But I knew that was coming to a close, but I love our church and thought that, well, what's my next role? But God has clearly given us a direction on that I'm not to come back into ministry, and I'm super surprised by that, but I really am at peace with that. And it's hard because I love all of you, and I love our church, and I love Eddie and everybody here, but I need to listen to the Lord, and we don't know what's next, but we're trusting God, and I'm also trusting God with the church. It's hard because I am a shepherd, and I love 17 years for me,
Right.
and so it's hard for me, but I'm really trusting God. And this is not about a senior pastor. It's not about a campus pastor. It's about Jesus. And it's about the family of God. And I'm excited to watch what God's going to do in this family, go moving forward. And but we're going to be praying for all of you. And I just ask you to pray for all of us, because like I said, I don't know what we're going to do, but God's got a great plan for both of us. So yeah, that's kind of the short version of it.
Yeah, well, we just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you publicly over video. But thank these men. Look, we need to thank them, and we need to honor them, because they have served us so well for so many years. Think of all the times where they've poured into people who are in need. They've instilled in us a love for God's word. I mean, there's just so much that they've done that we want to honor you guys and say you're transitioning with honor, and saying, because of the men that you are, and because of the families that you lead and the service that you've brought to our church. So just hear that from us. We're very, very thankful for both of you, and obviously sad that this is transitioning and coming to an end, but we're definitely wanting you to hear our hearts, that our hearts are filled with gratitude, and we just want to honor you as this transition happens. So I just want to address two questions that would jump in my mind right away if I was hearing this for the first time, which is, why are there two people transitioning? Is there something else going on that I should know about? So I don't know, maybe one of you can answer that.
Oh, I'll jump in because I think this is important to address the conspiracy theories. It was a little over a week ago that I contacted Pastor Greg, and some of you may not know, but Pastor Greg was on a sabbatical, and we had no contact, no communication whatsoever. And I contacted him and said, there's some things I want to talk with you about and make sure that you know. Greg, in the midst of that conversation, shared some things that God was doing in his heart and his mind, and we had the same revelation on the same day. And so that's just the facts.
Right.
It's not a coincidence. I believe God does everything perfect. He's sovereign. To be associated with Greg in any way is an honor for me. And it's just been a pleasure being able to minister together. And it just so happens that
Right.
we're transitioning at the same
Yeah.
time. And that's the story. That is the story.
Yeah, I did a good job on my sabbatical, not going on my phone. My wife would check it from time to time, and that was such a key thing to be able to get away. But then I did see that text, and I'm like, Ed, I'm going to be resigning. And he's like, I am too. And so
Yeah.
we, we're sad about it, but we know that God's leading us. And so, yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't something that you guys did together. It's just more coincidence that that's happening this way. But the other question, which I would have, which is, are we going to be okay? There's this sense of when you see, one of our senior leaders and campus pastors transitioning, it really can feel unsettling for us who are staying. And look, I've been through this, especially as a pastor's kid. I'm telling you, I've had many days where I have that feeling of like, is it going to be okay? And this is where we have to remind ourselves. This is the Church of Jesus Christ.
That's right.
And He's the one who's leading this. They've submitted this to the Lord. They've sought wise counsel. They've sought Him in prayer. And as He's leading it, then that means He's also going to lead us.
That's right.
He's not just going to leave us in the dark. And so we know that there's something God's doing, and we're gonna trust in Him, because at the end of the day, there really is just one kingdom. We're not trying to build our little kingdom here, and we're like, oh, we lost some lieutenants. No. There's one kingdom, and there's one king.
That's right.
And His name is Jesus Christ. And so He's the one that we're worshiping, and He's the one who leads us and gives us different assignments in different seasons. So yes, the assignment's changing for these two brothers that we love, but we're still building the same kingdom, and Jesus Christ is going to fulfill His purposes. And so He's the one we're trusting in, and I'm just thankful that as this transition is happening, I just want everyone to hear these are godly men, and these are men that we love, and it's been so awesome to get to serve together, and we're trusting the Lord with your stories, and we're trusting the Lord with our stories.
right.
So, love you, Harvest.